Hello, my name's Jo. I'm a textile artist based on a narrowboat in Wales, and today I'm answering your doll making questions. I'm on camera without a script, which is terrifying, so let's get into it. So the first question came in through email, and this is from a viewer called Lacey. Hello, my name is Lace, and in October I started doll making. It's been such a fun hobby. I can imagine doing it for the rest of my life, as well as just sewing in general. My style is a little all over the place, but share the same dark, spooky theme. Since February, I've been more busy and mentally struggling a little bit more, and I was wondering if you've ever taken a month off. I'm just worried that my love for it will fade away, and if you have any advice, I would appreciate it. I love your work and your videos so much. I also included some pics of a couple of my little friends I've made so far. I can definitely relate to this. I have struggled in the past. I've made no secret of the fact that I am neurodivergent, and I have struggled with burnout and mental health issues like depression and anxiety in the past. And yeah, life can get very busy, very hectic, and sometimes you just can't get the same enjoyment out of the things you love doing. What I would say is, yes, take a break. If you need to take a month off, or if you need to take more than a month off, then definitely do that. Don't worry about it. I've taken several months off in the past, especially during 2020 when the world shut down. I took a good few months off, and sometimes that can be just what you need. If you really love sewing, you love doll making, don't worry about that not coming back if you take a break. I think if your enjoyment is going to fade over time, it will fade whether or not you're doll making or whether you're taking a break. If it's not meant for you, then that'll happen. If you love doll making and you can see yourself doing it for the rest of your life, that's still going to be there. Take a month off, come back to it, and you'll probably find when you come back that you've got new inspiration and new ideas and things that you want to try. I think sometimes when we're working constantly on something, you can get very stagnated. You find yourself making the same thing over and over again, and it can be hard to come up with something new. You just feel like your ideas just kind of stop. So I think taking a break, maybe reading some books, looking at some art, doing other things that inspire you, maybe even drawing, painting, anything, knitting, crocheting, whatever you enjoy doing. Just something that relaxes you, something that's enjoyable, something that doesn't have any pressure attached to it. And come back to it when you feel ready, and it'll still be there. Lacey did share some photos, which I'll try and put up on screen somewhere. Oh, these are very cute. Very, very cute. I love the big furry feet. Yeah, I love those. They are so cute. And I think you are definitely, you're going to come back to it. You're going to be fine. And you're going to come back with some awesome new ideas. And I think just taking a break could be just what you need to, kickstart your passion again. Next, we've got a question from Princess P 1963. And Princess P says, "Hi Spider Thread, really enjoy your content and beautiful dolls. Thank you. I would love to know what got you into doll making. Also, what is some advice you might have for artists and makers about setting up an independent business, selling self-made creations, any obstacles to be aware of, and how to find the right market?" So there's a few questions there. I have talked before on the channel about how I got into doll making. Basically, I was all set to go and be a physiotherapist. I'd done a bachelor's degree at university. I'd spent 4 years studying, and I was completely burned out. I was starting to realise that a physiotherapy career was not going to work for me. So I took some time out and I started just rediscovering some of the creative pursuits that I'd not had time to do for a lot of years while I've been studying. Someone I knew at the time was doll making, and she was a part of a doll making group on Facebook. And I was looking at her work and thinking, oh, that looks really interesting. And I thought maybe I could do something like that. But the style of doll that she was making was definitely not my style. It wasn't something that I'd want to make. But then my daughter came home from school. She was an emo teen at the time, and she was talking about some very gothic style dolls. And I was thinking, yeah, I could make something like that. That sounds like a really good idea. That sounds like fun. So I made a really simple cloth button-eyed doll in a gothic kind of dress. I think the first doll I made was called Amelia. And she had very simple yarn hair and just black buttons for eyes. And I just stitched the mouth, very simple. And my first attempt wasn't great, but it was fun. I enjoyed it, and I got some positive feedback from people around me. And so I kept going. I made another one. Then I made another one. And then I started learning how to really make dolls. And it became a passion. And at first it was a hobby. And then after a few years, it became a full-time job. Also, what is some advice you might have for artists and makers about setting up an independent business, selling self-made creations? Well, the practicalities of setting up your own business is very much going to depend on where you are in the world. There are different laws, different regulations, and different rules that you have to follow depending on where you live. So maybe join some small business groups or some channels on YouTube that talk specifically about small businesses in the country you live in. Advice for artists and makers. The main piece of advice I'd give would be to really look into copyright law. I see so many people make this mistake that they see other people on social media sharing pictures of things they've made that are direct copies of Disney characters or characters from movies, and you can get yourself into a lot of trouble. People pass it off as fan art, but it's only fan art if you're making it for yourself as a fan. If you are actively selling it, then it's copyright theft. So, yeah, I've heard people say, oh, well, Disney aren't going to come after me. Disney will never see my work. They can. They have AI bots trawling the internet, and people do get sued. People do get into trouble. So I stay well away from that. You will get people messaging you and asking, can you make this character for me? If I had a fiver for everybody who asked me to make a Coraline doll, I'd have quite a lot of money. It's not worth it. Just don't do it. Also, don't compare yourself to others. You will see lots of people out there who all seem to be making the same sort of thing. So you tend to think, oh, well, I need to make that too because that's what works. That's what everyone else is selling. But you don't have to follow the crowd and make what everyone else is making. You make what you feel passionate about. Then you find your own niche and you draw people to you who like the same thing that you do. And your first idea might not work, but keep trying things, keep experimenting. Eventually you will hit on the thing that works, that resonates with people. And anything else? Oh yeah, and ignore the bullies. You're always going to have bullies in any field. When you start sharing your work online, there is always going to be somebody who sees you as competition and wants to tear you down, or people who just like to criticize your work for the fun of it. Just block them. Don't listen to them. Just carry on, ignore them, pretend they don't exist. Oh, and how to find the right market. I can tell you how I did it, and I can tell you how I should have done it, because I think if I'd known what I know now about marketing, I would have found my place a lot quicker. What I did basically was just make what I like and hope that other people would find me who liked the same thing. What you should do is make what's called an avatar. So an avatar is an imaginary person. It's your ideal customer. Let's say we've got a woman called Rebecca who's 35 years old. What does Rebecca do for a job? Maybe she works in a shop. And what does Rebecca like to do on the weekends? She likes dressmaking, and she likes to go out for coffee, and she does her shopping in Waitrose. And you can go as far into this as you like. You can talk about what's Rebecca's favourite colour, what's Rebecca's favourite food, what TV programmes does she like, what music does she like, and you get a really specific image of this imaginary person. Then you tailor everything you make to this one person. And then the idea is that people like your avatar, people similar to that character, will find you, and then you'll have a community of similar people with similar tastes and similar ideals. And they'll all be drawn to you because they identify with this person who you're aiming your work at. And I think very much being yourself. I think they call it building a personal brand. So you work out, what do you want to portray to the world? What do you stand for? Who are you as a person? And be that. Be yourself. Don't try to be some ideal image of what you think you should be. Just be you, and then you'll draw people to you who like you, which I think is good advice for anyone, really, not just for businesses. So the next question, I'm not sure how to pronounce your username, so I'll put it up on screen somewhere. What recommendations do you give your customers for maintaining and cleaning the dolls? And do you offer any special gift wrapping package for sending the dolls? So my dolls need to be kept as clean, dust-free as possible and kept away from moisture. I do include a little card with them, a little tag that just says keep away from direct sunlight and moisture, and that just helps keep them in good condition for longer. Strong lighting, I mean, you don't have to keep them totally in the dark, but strong lighting, like if you were keeping them in a window, it's going to fade some of the fabrics. I try to use materials on the face that are light resistant, but obviously just fabric dyes, you can't guarantee that they're not going to fade over time. So out of direct sunlight and not in a room that's going to get very damp, because obviously fabrics can develop a bit of mold and you don't want that. Once you get like mildew, mold on the fabric, it's really difficult to get rid of. So it's better to prevent that. The main issue you're going to have is with dust. I mean, dust on a boat is a real problem because I have a log burner and that just gets really, really dusty. Yeah, dust can be an issue depending on where you live, but you can use a brush or a lint roller or even a bit of sticky tape just to remove, you know, if your cat walks along the shelf and gets a few cat hairs on your doll or something like that. And you can use a lint roller or a bit of sticky tape and just gently remove the dust and particles from it. For the hair, you can gently brush out the hair. Doll hair brushes, Monster High hair brushes are great. I have a Monster High brush that I got with a doll that I was doing a repaint on years ago, and I still use that to brush the hair on my dolls. So yeah, when it comes to things like dust and moisture, prevention is always better than the cure, but if they do get dusty, just try and brush them off gently. And do you offer any special gift wrapping package? I don't. I just try to send dolls out in a way that I'd like to receive something. So I have some nice black gift boxes. They're like a sort of shoe box, and I'll pack them inside the nice box in tissue paper. I try to include some things like little postcards or stickers, and there's always a certificate of authenticity in there. And sometimes I'll just throw in some stars or some confetti or something, just, just something to make it a pleasure to open. I try to present them as nicely as I can, but I don't wrap them in wrapping paper or anything, because I think everyone has their own tastes. So I try and keep it neutral, but I like to think that they're packed nicely, so it's going to be nice to open. So the next question we have is from Forever Learning Art. Hello, I'm a new subscriber and I love the spooky look of your dolls. My question is, what are some good but cheaper alternatives for hair and stuffing? I'm still new to doll making. I've tried polyfill but would like something a little denser, but I don't want to spend a lot of money either. Also, how do you store your dolls before selling them? So for hair, I think the cheapest alternative is actually something I use quite a lot, which is super chunky acrylic yarn. I'll see if I can reach some from here. The advantage of living on a tiny narrow boat is that everything's always in reach. So yeah, this kind of thing. These last ages. You buy like a 100-gram ball of super chunky yarn, and then you don't use a lot for a head of doll hair, so this will last for several dolls. Also, I try and I'll felt it in as it is and then unravel it, and then you can kind of pull out the ends, and then you've got another strands that you can use. So yeah, they do last quite a long time, and it looks quite effective as well when it's all unraveled. You get like the wavy curly hair effect. I do like to play around with different fibres. Some are more pricey than others, but as I say, you don't use a lot on a head of doll hair. So if you do buy a pack of fibre, they last for ages. I just got an order from World of Wool, and I got this, which is rose fibre. I've never tried felting with rose fibre before, but it's so beautiful. Look at that. It's almost pearlescent. It's so shiny. They only had this in the natural colour. They didn't have any dyed. So I'm not sure how I'm going to use it. It might be a ghost. It might be a white rabbit maybe, or something like that. But I'm really looking forward to trying that out. And that was like, for that pack it's like a 50-gram pack, and that was a couple of pounds. So not too bad. But yeah, I think super chunky acrylic yarn is the most economic material I've found. As for stuffing, polyfill is really variable. So if you've tried it once, I would say try a different brand before you discount it completely. I got some last year and it said it wasn't coated with anything, but when I got it, it was slippery. A lot of polyfill you buy for stuffing cushions, pillows and things like that it's coated with silicone, which makes it really kind of bouncy and soft, which is great for a pillow, but not great for an art doll. And it can be really difficult to stuff into a small doll and get that firm texture. It tends to kind of spring outwards and be kind of all bouncy, which you don't want if you're stiff stuffing a doll. So yeah, I got in the same order. I got 2 packs, white, and I got some black as well, which is always handy if you're stuffing a part that's with a dark fabric and you don't want any white showing through around the seams. This is, sorry, I don't know if you can hear me above the rustling. This is polyester staple fibre. So as you can see, it's not as smooth and it's not as bouncy as some of the like hollow fibre polyester you find for stuffing cushions and things. I have another pack here. This is high loft polyester stuffing, which is sold for like teddy bears and things. And they are quite different. So if I take a bit of this out of the pack, this is quite fine, it's quite smooth, and it's quite bouncy and it feels a little bit slippery. This one, the staple fibre, it's lumpier, but it's less bouncy, less slippery. It's got a rougher feel. And this is much easier to pack into a tiny doll and to get a nice firm finish. So experiment. Staple fibre, polyester staple fibre, have a go with it. If you really don't like polyester, and some people don't, it depends what's available in your country. I used to be able to get kapok fibre quite cheaply, and I loved working with kapok fibre, but it's not very easily available now. The last time I bought it, it had a lot of, because it's a natural fibre, it had a lot of kind of bits of husk in it, which didn't really work with stuffing dolls. So I've had to give up on that for the time being. But I think in parts of Europe, it's a lot easier to get hold of kapok than it is in the UK. So it depends where you are. Have a look around and see what's available. It also depends if you're going to be needle felting into it. Polyester and kapok fibre, you can needle felt into quite easily. So if you're needle felting hair, those are good options. If you're not needle felting into it, if you're going to be making a wig for the doll, or if it's a kind of doll that doesn't have hair, then sky's the limit. There's anything you can stuff it with. You can use cotton fibre. Cotton fibre is very, very dense and it's very difficult to felt into, but you do get a really nice firm feel with it. So you can pack it in very, very tightly. So cotton fibre could be a good option. And I've known people use things like sawdust or sand to get a really firm finish on their dolls. So experiment. Whatever you can find, just give it a go and see what works for you. You might find something that no one else has tried that just works. Also, how do you store your dolls before selling them? Because I'm on a boat, I do worry about dust and moisture getting to them. So I pack them very, very carefully while I've got them waiting here. I have a box behind me on the shelf. This is one of the boxes of dolls I have here at the moment. So they're in a plastic crate, and then inside that they're wrapped in individual polythene bags. I do reuse the polythene bags. When I sell a doll, I'll keep the bag. I don't send them out in plastic because I wrap them in tissue paper, but I will keep hold of the bag and then I'll use that for the next doll I make. And that keeps them nice and clean and dry and in good condition, ready to go out to their new homes. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to hit the like button and let me know. There's also a little thanks button down there somewhere if you'd like to donate to support the channel so I can make more videos like this. Every little donation is very, very much appreciated. Absolutely no pressure, but if you'd like to support me, the option's there. So the next question we have is from, again, I'm probably going to butcher your username, so I'll put it on the screen. Lady Ada? 8722. Hello, I love your doll making videos and it's inspiring me to look into the art. Brilliant. That's what I love. That's what I want to do. That was my whole aim for this channel, to inspire people to have a go at doing something new. Please share more about the pros and cons of clay doll making. I'm not an expert clay doll maker. I'd love to be. I follow some clay doll artists who are absolutely incredible. I've always wished that I could make amazing clay dolls. I've made a few in the past. I've dabbled a little bit with it. Pros, I think you can be a lot more creative with clay. You can put a lot of detail into it and you can make the dolls around a wire armature, so you can make them very poseable and very expressive. So I do love clay dolls. The cons, it takes a lot of time and a lot of space, and I think there's a definite skill to it. I have recently wanted to have another go at clay doll making. I actually ordered this recently, which is Sculpey air dry clay, and I was like, right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to have another go at clay doll making. And then I got the clay back here and I thought, where am I going to do it? I think the problem is with clay, you need surfaces where you can stand your work when you've sculpted it to dry. It takes quite a bit. Air drying clay in particular takes a lot of time to dry, and you need to let it dry slowly so it doesn't shrink and crack. And I just don't have very much space in here. So maybe I'll make something small. Maybe I'll make a tentative start on making something from clay soon, I hope. But I'll have to clear a surface somewhere. I'm not sure where I'm going to do that. So yeah, that's the main problem with clay. It's space. It's having the space to do it and having the right environment. Also, I have the issue that any space that I do have clear, any surfaces that don't have objects on them on my boat, my cat likes to use as a walkway. So that's not ideal. But yeah, if I do have another go at clay doll making, I will make some videos about it. So we'll see. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for all your questions. And if you have any questions for the next Q&A video, leave them down in the comments, and I will, if I get a few comments, I will put them into a video like this all together. Or if there's something that needs a more detailed answer, I might make a dedicated video. If you'd like to see the other questions I've answered in the past, I will put the playlist on screen here somewhere. So go and watch those now, and I'll see you next time. Bye.